Part 7 and final of our build. In this video we're going to be lubricating the car, installing the body, essentially getting the car ready for the track, and we are also going to talk a little bit about center of gravity and what it does to your slot car. Okay, so first thing, get your oil ready. Put a little drop on the inside and outside of each of the rear axle bushings. And like we said before, you can also add a little drop on the can side of the motor, not the end bell side. Okay, so you're also going to need some grease. Right here between the teeth of the gear and the hub of the gear, there is a little channel. So you're going to squirt a little bit of this grease there. Just enough to cover the entire surface. You can either spin that gear or use a toothpick or something similar to help spread the grease around. Okay, don't overdo on the grease. The more you apply, the more it's going to fly in the inside of your body when you're racing. Okay, so next step, let's get this body installed. For the same reason, I'm not running my motor pod tight. I'm also not going to run my body to chassis tight. I don't want to flex the chassis. Okay, so I have it snug. I'm going to be backing it up. Each car is different, so I'm just going to show you. I'm not going to say how many turns I'm doing. I'll show you in the camera what I'm looking for. Okay, just give me a second here. There you go. Let me zoom in again, try to focus. Okay, so look at this line here between the chassis and the body, and look at how much movement I get. That's about it for me, enough so it doesn't flex the chassis, and the body's got a little bit of movement. Okay, you see there, this line to this line right here. Alright, so next step, let's check our wheel track. The Slot.it challenge rules say that you can run this wheel track as wide as possible, as long as it doesn't protrude outside the body when viewing from above. Okay, so I'm just gonna eyeball this right now and try to get it as wide as I can. And we're going to flip this car over and see if we can see any tire or wheel outside here on the fenders. It doesn't show, so I'm legal, and I'm pretty wide right now. It's a good thing. I would recommend running wide on our track. The front wheel track we set when we're just in the front axle height. It should be alright, should not be outside, the fender. Should be pretty good there. Next thing to check is to see if those tires are rubbing on the fenders. They're not. Okay. Front wheel's the same. If for some reason after you install the body your front tires are rubbing on the fender and you are at the maximum adjustment for the front axle, you need to take that wheel out, put it back on the truer and reduce the diameter on the front tire. Then go back, reset your front axle height, and check if that wheel is rubbing or not. Okay, this one is pretty good, and at this point I would tell you to take the car and go to the track and turn a few laps around. Okay, I'll be right back. Alright, so let's talk a little bit about center of gravity and what it does to your car. Okay, so if your car has too low of a center of gravity, it will either skip or slide on the turns. If the center of gravity is too high, it's going to have a tendency to flip over. Okay, there are a few things we can do to fix that behavior, either sliding or tipping over. Some of them have to do with center of gravity. The others, I wouldn't classify center of gravity, but we're going to talk about them anyways. Okay, so first thing, let me take this body out. One of the easiest ways, or the simplest way to fix your center of gravity, if it's either high or too low, is to add weights. Okay. Okay. All right. So if your center of gravity is too high, of course you want to get weights as close to the track as possible in the lowest part that you can on the chassis. So basically, you just cut, a little piece of lead, or Slot.it sells a little tungsten magnet replacement. You can use those as well. I don't have the part number here. I think they're 2.5 grams. They do help. They go right where the magnets go. Or basically, you just add a little weight. Normally, I like to add weight somewhere in the middle or close to the rear of the car. If your car has too low of a center of gravity and it's sliding, sometimes you go ahead and add some weight high on a car, and there's not really a lot of places to add, so we normally add on top of the motor. And this is what I do here. I cut a little piece of lead and cut 2 holes so the motor can breathe, and I install it right there. Okay, that's just one of the ways to do it. I'm not saying you have to do it this way. You can also use that little tungsten bar and just glue it to the top of the motor. And again, if your car is sliding or skipping, you want to raise the center of gravity. If your car is tipping over, you want to lower your center of gravity. Okay. Another way to do this without changing the center of gravity is to change your wheel track. Okay, if you're running a wide wheel track, it will help you. It will act as you are lowering the center of gravity. Okay, it's gonna help prevent this car from tipping over. Now, if it's the other way around, if your car is sliding and skipping because the center of gravity is too low, what you can do is to narrow that wheel track, and this will act somewhat the same as adding weight high on the car. Okay, so if your car is tipping over, you want a wide track. If your car is sliding, you want a narrow track. All right, I'll leave it that way. Another way to either raise or lower your center of gravity is through the motor pod screw adjustments. Okay, having your motor pod with very little movement is the same as basically you're with the highest center of gravity that you can adjust with your motor pod. Okay, when the motor pod is tight. Now, if you want to lower the center of gravity, basically you loosen this motor pod here. Okay, I'm exaggerating here this procedure, but basically what happens is the motor pod, the rear of the motor pod, the rear height of the motor pod is going to be limited by the diameter of your tires, but the axle is going to fall through the motor pod and get closer to the track. And when, not the axle, the chassis is going to fall through. Okay, so if the chassis is closer to the track, your body is also a little closer to the track, is actually a little lower, and that will lower your center of gravity. Okay, and getting your pod with very little movement will again raise that center of gravity. Okay, all right, which other way can we do this? Oh, there's one more way. It works if your car is sliding. Okay, imagine your car is going in a turn and it's sliding. what you want to do is to loosen the body screws a little bit more, okay? If your body has very little movement, it won't lean as much on a turn. If you loosen it up, it's going to lean more, okay? So imagine you're making a left turn. The tendency of this car would be to flip to the right, okay? So by loosening the body screws, this body is going to lean quite a bit also to the right, and will help this outside tire here have a better bite on the track and hopefully make that turn instead of sliding, okay? So if your car is sliding or skipping, you might want to loosen the body a little bit to counteract that effect. I believe this is it. One thing that I need to tell you is that before you do any adjustments, you want to make sure the track's clean and your tires are clean and true, okay? All the erratic behavior that I've seen on most of my cars were because there was something wrong with the rear tires, either they were not true or they were just dusty, okay? So that's the first thing you want to check before you go making any adjustment. When you do make adjustments, make one at a time with small adjustments. See what happens, how the car behaves, take it back to the pits, you know, make another adjustments, make notes, or just, you know, try to remember everything that is happening. And well, this is it, guys. I really hope I've helped, and hope to see you guys with some very fast slot cars. I'll see you guys around. Take it easy.